We should never allow the government to decide what is acceptable speech and what is unacceptable speech. We should penalize behaviors, not opinions, and not speech. If you start trying to regulate speech, you start trying to regulate thoughts, you start trying to regulate beliefs rather than behaviors, there's no way that you're not going to abridge the constitutional rights of millions of Americans.
Hands up. Put your hands up. I'm not going to tell you again. Right. Turn around.
So many of you have enjoyed that other video I did, and I appreciate Area 51 Rider sharing my video on his channel so that other people who are as interested in Area 51 as I am will have a chance to see other opinions other than the one-sided viewpoint of Christian Grunau about his escapades out at the base all the time. I went back to some of my older videotapes. I've tried to collect as many of them as I can from the 90s that were done. And as I've said in my last video, you had those two security guards literally spitting in this British UFOologist's face when he went out there to ask about what was going on at the airport. And on videotape, there was a two-part Area 51 Dreamland DVD VHS tape, and they didn't bleep anything out. They didn't sanitize anything the guy said. So I thought, well, maybe I'll try and do another video so you can really hear what the guy did say to him. He just essentially said, "It's bullcrap, stop it." That's what he said when they bleeped it out as far as what he said. And there's also footage. They did an interview out at EG&G. You don't know who they are. It's Edgerton Gorbachev or something like that. It's a group of individuals who were involved during the Second World War to do flash photography. Edgerton was a scientist who developed a strobe light that could actually slow down the amount of light that was captured on a photograph at the time when they were photographing like bombing raids over Berlin and other places in the European attacks that we were doing against nations like Germany and Japan during World War II. Well, EG&G as a company got really big as an organization after the war ended. They began doing a lot of government contract work with the Atomic Energy Commission. They did a lot of these nuclear bomb tests in Nevada during the time when they were doing tests of atomic bombs underground. And Edgerton himself, his organization, EG&G, would film and photograph these nuclear detonations underground at ground zero. And I've seen so many shots of these things on documentaries that's been done. Anybody has seen these atomic bomb movies where they take all these declassified nuclear films that were done by the United States Department of Defense, Civil Defense, the Atomic Energy Commission, and anyway, they made about 4 videos, and they redigitized it, made it look beautifully, perfectly clear. And almost every one of them that was done during Operation Share Plow, which is the atomic bomb tests where they tried to use atomic energy for industrial use instead of military, EG&G was out there. And they did all these snapshots and these videos of what the bomb looked like from up in the air and how much of a crater it created. And they brought up during the course of these tests that it was the foundation and the formation of Greenpeace. Greenpeace in the early 70s began denouncing the idea of us using any of these nuclear bomb test sites in Nevada, like Yucca Flats and all these other places. They started denouncing it and picketing, causing a lot of headache for the Atomic Energy Commission about it. And so by the 90s, the government decided we'll stop all nuclear tests, whether above ground or below ground. And the only countries now that do actual underground tests are North Korea, Pakistan, India, some other countries out in the Middle East do underground tests. Now the reason I bring this up about EG&G is that they are one of the main contractors who have security forces out of Area 51 at the Nellis test range. The EG&G people were interviewed by this British fact dude himself. He went out there and they acted exactly the same to him as they did when he went out to the airport near Las Vegas. They said flat out, you're on private property, so you aren't allowed here, get out of here. They literally, they were going to call the police and have him evicted. But he said that he was going to leave, but he wanted to ask again of what their involvement was with the security forces, and they refused to say anything. They said, you're on private property, you have to leave. If you don't leave, we will have you arrested. In other words, your rights as an American to be on certain locations or certain places because of the fact that you're there to ask questions about what they do out at certain government facilities, they still say the same thing. You're not allowed to talk about it. You can't ask us questions about it because it's none of your business. And that's how they treated that guy in the interview. You're an American citizen, but that doesn't mean that what we do is any of your business, and you shouldn't be asking us these questions either. Again, taxation without representation. That's what I said in my last video. The United States government is really arrogant about your money and my money because they don't take it responsibly in being transparent about what it is they do wherever they are using our taxpayer dollars. They are obstinate. Secrecy in the government has existed even during the time of the first nuclear tests that were done in Los Alamos and Alamogordo. It's taken, 70 years plus for them to even release the kinds of images we've been seeing on these documentaries that they do about nuclear tests. And it's taken them that long just to admit the fact that all of our tax money was being used to create these bombs and these tests to determine whether or not they had validity to use them against targets outside the United States, against enemy targets. And it's taken us all these years to find out these facts. And the storming of the Lair at Nellis, most people I've been listening to now since I posted my first video have been saying, oh, it'll probably fizzle out, it won't happen, it'll never take place, because they figure it's all just a fad. It's a spur of the moment thing where people are trying to joke and laugh it off and think, Nothing's gonna happen. They're not gonna go out there. And yet Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck, all these radio talk show people say the National Guard have already made arrangements. Police on the county, the city levels out there near Rachel, state police in Nevada, they've all taken the initiative to have these forces on site at the time that they're expecting this on September 20th. And I again have said it, I'll say it again, I believe sincerely that we as taxpayers have a right to know what they use our money for. And you know, if the military were to show up at my front door and say, you can't say that, you can't talk about that, because it's none of your business to ask us or to even want to know what it is we do out there, I say, well then you don't need your job, because it's my money you're using. And if you don't care enough to tell me through transparency of what's going on out there, if you're not going to try and tell us what's going on, then you don't need my money and you don't need your job. And that's what I tell any guy or any idiot that comes out here to my house. I'm hoping I'll see one of those security guards from the civilian airport facility that ship people out on the planes to Area 51. If I saw that guy, I would not mince words with him of what I thought about how he treated that British UFOologist that went out there to ask questions. Legitimate questions. And you had that black guy sitting there pointing his finger in his face every 5 seconds saying, you're on private property, you're not allowed to be here, I'm going to take your name, I'm going to this, I'm going to that. If I were that fat guy, I would have laid him out. I would have punched him flat out, right in the face. I'd say, you can't answer questions that somebody is asking you as an American citizen, you don't need that job, and you don't need to be here. And we're talking in the 90s when these guys were so arrogantly and obstinate and just snotty about what they were doing with our money. What they do is their own business and it's no one else's to ask questions. You know, that's what our Constitution is supposed to do for American citizens. It's supposed to protect our rights as Americans. And what are the communist, socialist, Democrats doing? They're saying we don't need the Constitution anymore. We don't need the Electoral College anymore. We don't need guns anymore. We don't need anything. We don't need liberty or freedom. And all of it kind of is foreshadowed by how the military treat people who go out there to Area 51 and to just want to ask or look and see what's going on as far as what is it that we're seeing in the night skies out there. I still denounce what Grunau does because I say the guy is playing a game and eventually somebody's going to get hurt when he goes out there. I say Grunau should be thinking twice about what he does when he goes to Area 51 because number one, he's got a kid, he's got an ex-wife, and he's not thinking of either one of them when he figures I'm going out here because I don't care what they do to me. And that's the attitude he takes when he goes out there and watches the camo dudes. I'm sorry I said cameo in my last video. I was kind of corrected by Area 51 writer. Thank you so much for telling me about that. Camo stands for camouflage. I thought they were saying cameo because so many people see these military dudes and they automatically assume, oh, they're trying to get themselves visibly seen by people who are out there to film the place. That's not what it meant. It meant camouflage. That means they're trying to visibly disappear into the background so people don't know they're there until it's too late. And then they show up right at your door, snatch up your personal property and say, you're not allowed here, get out of here, or you're going to be arrested. Grunau, on one video, he was out there at 3 o'clock in the morning. The camo dudes, I got it right, they're out in the distance, they're driving up to his position. Sometimes they turn their headlights off. In one instance he says, well, I'm just going to sit here and see what these guys are going to do, and all of a sudden out comes the sheriff's office. Go out there, do an investigation, check his ID, check everything else, and according to Grunau, he said, well, they didn't do anything. They just asked me why I'm out there. What am I doing? And then they did not give him a trespass warning. They did not arrest him. Although in other instances, he's claimed, yeah, they did arrest me because I was not supposed to be there. So these are the kinds of unknowns you can't get an answer for from Grunau about, was it real, was it lies, was it fake, was it true, what was this all about? You know, he's not going to tell you that. And I say this to Grunau himself, if you see this video, how is it that Area 51 can be used as far as the material he posts on his channel about you, and even uses some of your own material, and you don't actually block his videos or file copyrights to say, well, he used my material, so I'm having him filed a copyright strike, because that's what you did to me. You took a video off that I was trying to just, in a very respectful way, show people what it was you saw that night when you saw the Area 51 lights shining from the clouds to the base of the mountains. I tried to visually recreate that, and you absolutely blew up about that. And then I found out you took the copyright strike against me for doing that. And then I hear from Area 51 saying, oh, he does that to me all the time, but he don't take my videos down. He's sort of like, he knows that we're all trying to do the same thing, to express ourselves, to say something. But with Grunau himself, he attacks people that he may not know you enough, he may not know what your intentions are, so he just retaliates without looking twice at what it is you're saying in your videos. He sees his ugly face in it, and he'll just take it off and say, you're using my material, and I don't appreciate you saying or doing things with my materials. So therefore, I'm just going to hit his copyright strike, and that's going to be the end of it. That hurts other people, Grunau, whether you know it or you don't. Whether or not somebody was trying to do something that was nice for you, nothing I post, Grunau, makes me money. Yeah, it makes you money because that's all you want. You want to make money from what you post. I don't. I've never made money from my videos. Never have, never wanted to, never will. Because I'm trying to express my opinions, not to make $1 or $1 off of something that I post or share. Yeah, I use some other people's videos who intend to let people use their videos. So when you tell me or you tell somebody else, oh, he's stealing other people's work, that's a lie. What I do with my videos is to try to make something interesting, but I am not intending to steal other people's work. If I use someone else's work, it's because they've said flat out, this is royal free, it is not something anybody else has to worry about me saying it's copyright, because that's why they're posting it. They want other people to use the material that they're posting. Not Grunau. And I'll say his name hundreds of times in the future because the guy only cares about money. He cares about it himself. How much money can I make from this? If you're a serious UFOologist, money doesn't mean squat. It doesn't mean nothing. You're trying to make a point about a subject, not a point of how much money can you pocket from whatever it is you're trying to show on your videos. To me, that's vanity because it means you do this stuff only for whatever you get out of it as far as what goes in your wallet or in your purse. It isn't about money if you're serious about wanting to know what are these things we're seeing in the sky? Why are they up there? What are they doing? Who is it that's doing this? And the government should be answerable for those things. Not Grunau. Grunau says, I don't care one way or the other. I want money in my pocket. I want popularity. I want prestige. I want people watching my videos and get 200,000 subscribers. Doesn't matter to me how many subscribers you get, because it's about what you say to them. It's about what you learn from the fact of what you post. That's what YouTube was supposed to be from its very inception. Making it possible and available for people to express themselves. Not about you, Grunau, making money because of what you post. Or that YouTube says, well, we're going to let some people make money from what they post, but the rest of them, because we don't like what they're saying, which is communism, which is socialism, controlling, restricting, denying people's rights. That's what YouTube is doing to people. They're doing that to Glenn Beck. They're doing it to the radio hosts who are on radio every day telling the American public about what is socialism. Socialism is totalitarianism. It's you as an American citizen being told by our government, you can't say that because we won't allow you to say that. It has nothing to do with incitement. Incitement is a lie. That is their intention to stop your freedom from being exercised, because they say, we don't want you saying that because, yeah, it's true and yeah, it's fact, but we don't want other people hearing it. And it shouldn't be YouTube's place or their legal right to restrict people from saying those things. Because as an American, I have constitutional rights. And I know people say to me over and over again, it's their service. It's their service, but they intended it to be free from the very beginning. It was supposed to be a service where you could express yourself without retaliation, without harassment from YouTube. And now it's 180 degrees about face. It's 365 degree turn. Now they are using their own viewpoints against free-thinking American citizens. That's the joke. To say that my rights as an American are no longer valid, because now it's up to the government itself, it's up to YouTube itself to say to me whether or not I can talk about something. That's wrong. That is totally wrong for anybody to say that to somebody else. That your freedom and your rights are null and void, or not tantamount to giving the freedom of choice of speech to somebody else who isn't normal or who isn't an American citizen, like a Latino, or somebody who they think deserve those rights more than you. YouTube is doing that to people every single day, restricting us and saying you cannot talk about that if we tell you you can't. And that's wrong.
This is Apollo Control. Still no explanation. The weird noises emanating from Apollo 11, if indeed it is from Apollo 11. Perhaps we'll all shake out later in the mission as to what these strange noises are.
Now let's look around for a square. Is the door shaped like a square? No.
بيحب الوصلة بيحب الوصلة لا لا
His name is Omran Daknesh, just 5 years old, and his feet barely hung over the edge of a seat in an ambulance. Dazed, he didn't cry as he wiped away blood and the dust from a building that collapsed around him in an airstrike. His silence somehow reminded the world today of its silence in the face of the atrocities in Aleppo. Omran was pulled out alive Wednesday. 5 other children died when the building they were in was hit during the relentless Syrian-Russian offensive on rebel-held areas in Aleppo. The image of Omran's face spread like wildfire on the internet. One tweet called him the real representative of the Syrian people.
Stop killing Syrian innocent people, civilian. Our children need to live in peace.
The doctor who treated Omran said today there were many more severe cases no one is paying attention to.
We need to protect our hospital, our doctors, our medical workers from airstrike.
Omran is recovering. His family now wants to escape. The same choice another boy's family made a year ago, Aylan Kurdi, whose body washed up on a beach. He too was a symbol of Syria's youngest victims. Now there's a new one. Tomorrow there may be another. Richard Engel, NBC News.
They've reported from around the world, challenged the powerful, and they bring all of this to every story that breaks.
We've got breaking news, and it's good news.
And touches your heart.
How do you even say thank you? Thank you is not big enough.
I made this.
The images shocked the world. Relentless bombings. Stunned survivors.